Hey everyone, welcome to the Fargo 3D Printing Show. I am John Schneider, and with me I have Eric Faldy. This week we are without Jay Clark. He's doing some traveling right now.
Coming back from Chicagoland.
Yeah.
I think there's actually, is that the name of there's somebody from, I think they're called Chicagoland Geeks. I said that and I was like, that sounds too good. I think that's somebody.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was there for business and travel and whatnot.
Yeah, a little bit of everything. So this week it's just covering a bunch of different topics.
Yeah, we have a lot.
Some miscellaneous ones, nothing really too huge. I guess the first thing we might as well launch into, Eric Prusa, the i3, or did you want to talk about something else first?
I guess quickly we can just talk about some stuff about the channel. We did find a winner for the Big Patrick head. I haven't heard back from him yet on which one he wanted, so I just put them both on the table because I'm going to have to say goodbye to one of them. I'll say his name and then if you whatever. Danzka6, you can find him on Twitter at DANZCA6. Just the numeral 6. You don't need to spell everything out. But yeah, he's from Illinois as well, so maybe we could have figured something out if we'd done this drawing earlier. I think we cut it off on Friday, but
yeah. It would have been he would have had to have been in just the right spot in Illinois for Jake to stop by and
talk for 20
It's like
minutes.
For like the publisher's clearinghouse. Instead of dropping off a check, you're dropping off this wonderful Patrick head. It's not quite the same. Not quite the same level of gravitas to it.
Yeah, the check is humongous. Like this Patrick head is pretty big, but that check is like 2 by 3 feet.
Yeah.
But yeah, so thanks again for all the subscribers. We got about 2,150 or something. So I can say we have thousands of subscribers on YouTube, and we do still give a little attention to Podbean. So if you want, you can find us on iTunes as well. Just look up Fargo 3D, and you should find us pretty easily. Otherwise, Podbean.com. I think you can find us on there.
Yeah, and like you said, we are on iTunes. So basically, Podbean, that's where we host everything. It just propagates it all out.
It links to everything. We could be on Stitcher for all I know. I kind of doubt it because I think that's another paid service, but it probably kicks it out to a couple other ones.
Yeah.
So his name's Daniel. He likes 3D printing, laser cutting and etching, CNC design, whatever he can manage. Promote, support, and encourage fellow makers. He's very active on Twitter, so if you like 3D printing, he posts about something I'm going to talk about too, about Prusa in a little bit. But also, we made a list, and not one of those bad ones from those 3 or 4 letter acronym companies or organizations.
So when we say made a list, we made it onto a list.
We are on a list for top 3D printing blogs. We made number 37 out of 100, which I'm pretty, looking at our contenders.
We don't exactly try to get to the top of a list, or we just like talking about what we talk about.
We try to do our best and not spend all our time on video stuff. I'd love to, but that's just not things.
Right.
Things aren't oriented that way right now. But I'll say top 5: 3D printing industry, 3dprinting.com, 3Ders, Shapeways Magazine, and 3dprint.com. And then Adafruit is a quick 6. But kind of expected. Joel Telling, he's like the first private one. He's at 7. Or I guess 3D Printing Nerd. Is that Joel?
Yeah,
I forget. Formlabs 8. I keep saying oh man, these are good ones. Reddit 3D Printing is 12, which is kind of odd. But then we're number 37, and I will tell you who we're next to. Right in front of us, we have like MakerBot, Ultimaker. After us, we have Maker's Muse, and I can't believe we beat Maker's Muse. He's fantastic. Check him out, and then Make Anything. So I mean, we're pretty.
And I think
I don't know how they judge them exactly.
I think they talk about it at the top. Yeah, it's a combination of
Facebook fans, Twitter followers, Alexa rank, which I guess is like searchability or something. You'd know better than me, but
Alexa. I guess I don't know how they're using it for this list, but I mean, when you type in 3D printing, we end up showing up pretty high.
Here we go. Google reputation and Google search ranking. I think that's the Alexa thing. Influence and popularity on Facebook, Twitter, and etc. Quality and consistency, feed spots, editorial team, and expert review. So there is some human element there. But no, thank you for covering us. And I think they have a blog post out there. So I don't think we share that out on Facebook. We probably should. It's good being mentioned. I think that's all I had for like channel updates. I mean, we got all the stuff from CES is finally done, so took long enough.
Well, yeah.
Technically from last year, I had a couple that didn't make it because of bad quality or whatever.
Yeah. We won't say who those were.
I think we've said it, but no, the interview was fine. The video work was somebody behind the camera made a mistake.
So
it was me. It was out of focus.
I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, so I guess the next thing
we were going to talk about the Prusa i3 because we got it a month ago, 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, so it's been a while since we've done a podcast, and I think we had just gotten it before we shot that podcast. I don't even know if we had taken it out of the box yet, but now that we have it, I'm using it as a go-to printer daily for custom printing jobs. It's been working out really well. There were, I guess, one of the things that I had to change when I took it out of the box is it was set to be printing too close to the bed, so that first layer was getting squished. Parts were sticking to the build plate a little bit too well. But now that I got that all figured out, it's been working great. It's just, it's like an i3. It is an i3. It's just a very rock solid i3. We're using the Prusa edition of Slicer as the slicer, and that's been working out really well. Prusa has made some pretty significant improvements to Slicer from the last time I used it, because I don't think it had really been developed on since 2015, I think. Yeah, because, the guy that was developing it, I don't know if he fell off the face of the earth or what happened, or if it just, life took over, and so he didn't have time to devote to that project anymore.
What often happens with, Creative Commons and open source projects. It's like, hey, what happened with the development on that camera hack? Like, just 2014 last post. Like, okay.
Right, but the great thing is Prusa was able to take it over because it is open source, so everything was up on GitHub, so you had the whole repository to draw from. So I think I don't know if they forked it or if they, I'm not sure all the details on it, but it works really well as a slicer. Even the support generation, at least in the edition that we're using, the support generation is pretty good. It's still not as good as something like Simplify 3D, but Simplify 3D is it's tough to beat. Other slicers are catching up though, which I could talk about a whole other thing with Simplify 3D that I think they're in danger of being overtaken by some of the open source slicers as far as quality goes. But yeah, no, the Prusa, it's been working great. We've put quite a few different materials through it, from just your standard PLA, advanced PLA. Those work great. A few other PLA derivatives. PETG has worked really well through it. Actually, that's the printer that we have that prints PETG best in-house. We don't have a ton of printers that we print PETG with, so I haven't done extensive testing.
Raise and that, and then the Lulzbot.
Yeah, Lulzbot does fine.
Test 4. Yeah. No, it's a really nice thin PET. Wait, what is it? PEI sheet.
Yeah, PEI sheet.
So some of the ones that we've sold are a little. I want to say they're like a 16th of an inch. This is like a 32nd, or it's the ones, something like that. I forget.
Because for a while the sheets that we were selling were 0.03 inches thick. Now I think we're. No, it was 0.3 inches. No, it couldn't have been 0.3 inches. That would have been ridiculous.
A little thick.
Yeah, 0.03 inches thick. This one, I guess I don't know how thin it is.
It's very thin. It's really nice.
We've also transitioned ourselves to using thinner sheets of PEI so that they're easier to apply, easier to get air bubbles out of in case you misapply it to the print bed. But yeah, the Prusa i3 has been working great. I really like the interface that they have for just their whole menu structure. For the LCD screen,
we finally got it figured out. When we did do a Facebook Live of it, and then we were trying to figure out how to get it out of. Is it Czech? I forget what country they're from.
Oh yeah, to change the language from Czech.
It came default in not English, so
yeah,
we were trying to figure that out. I think you had to Google it, and then the menu is a little different than what we found, so they must have changed it at some point.
Well, and the menu is different from the menu structure is a little different from what you would find on a Lulzbot Taz, for example. I really prefer the Prusa layout, and the main screen gives you much more information than not much more. I think there's 1 or 2 tidbits of information more than you would get from other screens. Same number of LCD pixels, but you have things like the flow rate, print speed, the temperature. The thing that I like that it has on the main screen that I haven't seen in any other printer is it has has layer height information, or not layer height, but Z-axis position. So you know how high up off the print bed the Z-axis currently is. So it's helpful if you're trying to monitor it for doing a material change and you're manually going to be changing stuff over. it lets you see, okay, it's at 0.9 millimeters above the print bed. I need to change it once it hits 1.2 millimeters. So it lets you monitor that. Although with the Prusa slicer, there's a way that you can have it set up to do color changes, so you can basically have that baked into the G code. So that's really handy.
On the topic of color change, Prusa had an update that I think it just came out this morning about their multi-material upgrade. This is the second update. I think it came out this morning, but we talked about it with him at CES, and he was saying that there were some issues with the cheaper filaments, which usually,
not a surprise.
Whatever. I mean, you're just dealing with diameter, and just sometimes you're not dealing with the highest quality plastic, or it's got filler or something. But they figure, I'm just going to try to skim this really quick. But I think it's going to be $299, which I think is a little higher than they were expecting. I saw this number somewhere. I think they changed something about how the it's the thing that takes the heat off of the filament before it after it retracts. Solution. They're using a larger diameter steel tube for the cooling of the filament, and then a custom heat break they've made together with E3D. So that's their solution. Let's see. We got all the parts waiting and they're waiting on the new heat breaks from E3D. The upgrade will come with a pre-assembled E3D V6, including the new heat break. Due to the addition of these parts, like hot ends and bond techs, the price of the new orders will go to $299 USD or €329.
Do you know what it was before?
No.
Okay.
I could check. There's probably you keep talking.
It was probably between $199
it was
and $299.
I mean, it's like when he talked about the difference between the i3 Mark II and the i3 Mark II S. It was like a $50 difference, which is not crazy.
Right.
I'm trying to find let's see, multi-material. I'm not going to find it quickly.
Well, that's fine. But I mean, the print quality on the i3 has been phenomenal. I haven't ran into any issues with the printer aside from some experimental materials that we're running through. But that's not the printer's fault. That's just we're trying to get settings dialed in for the material. So it takes a lot of trial and error to get everything figured out.
It's a flexible material, and those are tricky enough already. I mean, there's some good settings for certain ones out there, but this is also it's experimental. On our end, and then also the material is
so it's not Ninja Flex. It's about all we can say about it right now. It's not Ninja Flex. Different type of flexibility, which is kind of cool. But hopefully more information on that in the next few months. I guess speaking of filaments, one of the materials we've been having a lot of fun with is 3D Fuel's Advanced PLA Plus. So, what are the differences between their Advanced PLA and their Advanced PLA Plus? The big thing, I mean, if you just want to, right out of the gate, the APLA Plus has an impact modifier in it. So what that means is it has better impact strength compared to standard APLA. And standard APLA already has slightly better impact strength than regular PLA. So it goes standard PLA, Advanced PLA Plus, and then one of the other things about the Advanced PLA Plus is it when you're annealing it, so annealing it is when you're heat treating it after printing, and that heat treating allows you to have higher temperature resistance. It warps less than the Advanced PLA did. It doesn't mean it doesn't warp at all. There's still going to be some warping and shrinkage going on with it, but it's significantly less, and it happens in a more predictable way. But it's a great material to print with. Even before you anneal it, that's the other thing. Annealing it improves the impact resistance even more than just standard. Than just having it standard right out of the box. But even without annealing it, the Advanced PLA Plus has better impact strength than ABS filament does. And ABS is kind of known for its impact strength. So when you anneal it, it's even better than that. And your temperature resistance is right about the same as ABS after you anneal the Advanced PLA Plus.
And you can handle overhangs a little better.
Yep.
Or at least, just imagine it's like a PLA overhang.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the angle thing is for ABS, but it's just not as good.
No, I mean ABS in general isn't as good as any PLA, unless it's a modified ABS, but we haven't really worked too much with that. But it's a really great material to print with. It's right now still considered a premium material, but it's not. It's about the same price or just a little bit more than 3D Fuel's Advanced PLA. So we don't have it up on the Fargo 3D printing site yet, but hopefully by the time this podcast goes up, we will have Advanced PLA Plus available on the Fargo 3D printing site. Right now, I think it's just in natural, white, black, and gray.
And that was my next question.
Yeah, but adding new colors.
Yeah, at least right now on 3D Fuel's site, it's just natural.
Yep. Yeah.
The natural does look a little bit more like an ABS, kind of that creamy.
So the natural, so the APLA Plus natural color, it's not transparent like the standard APLA is. It has almost more of a nylon look to it.
Yeah,
it
depends on what you're looking for.
Yes.
If you want the nice shiny see-through look, maybe just APLA. But if you want the extra resistance and heat resistance and
if you're looking for the transparent,
modifier.
if you're looking for the light transmission, PETG is going to be even better than that. And 3D Fuel just released a recycled PETG, so our PETG, and that, even though it's recycled, still has really, really good clarity. I'd say better than any of the PLA natural colors that are out there.
Yeah, I was messing with XTC 3D last night. I know it's supposed to XTC from Smooth On.
Yeah.
I didn't know Smooth On made that. It's like, they just got everything.
Yeah.
But I tried it out, and I did not. I need a paintbrush, I think. I tried using a sponge, and we're doing it on this vase that has a lot of, I don't know if facet's the right word.
Yeah, no, that's the right. I think that's the right word.
It's hard to do it. And I tried to kind of water it down so I could make it runny on the inside, because it's a one-shell vase.
Yeah.
It didn't work. It was just like, I don't know how to explain it, but it was like mucus in the cup when I put water in it, because it all separated.
Yeah. Okay.
So it was gross. Yeah. But yeah, it doesn't look good. So we'll have to do it again. It looks really bad, actually. I didn't want to show it because it's terrible.
Okay, I'll take a look at it after
Yeah,
this.
but the parts that look good look really good, and the parts that look bad, it's blotchy.
Yeah.
I need a paintbrush. But you can find that at Smooth-On. I don't know if it's smoothon.com, but if you know about molding
or Amazon.
Yeah.
I mean, it's XTC 3D.
The letters XTC 3D. It's kind of like the vapor bath sort of look, but it's an additive instead of a subtractive. So
yeah,
it's just, we did it with Baymax a long time ago, like the Baymax model.
Yeah,
it didn't look
great.
It didn't look great, but yeah, you put it on pretty thick too. So
yeah,
I
think that's the last time we used it. So it's almost 2 years since we've used XTC 3D. So we should check and see if it has an expiration date.
Yeah, that's a good thing to check.
Because it may not. Its efficacy may not be what it should be.
He pretty much just fills in the gaps that are between the beads of plastic, and then it looks smooth on the outside, so you can sand it or just paint it from there.
Yeah.
I think you could just go straight to paint. But we talked about APLA Plus.
Anything else we're not?
I got some just random things that I thought were funny, because I was just like, I want to find a news story to talk about. Then I didn't want to look that hard, so well, I don't know, I looked, and then it was like, okay, nothing's really grabbing my attention. It's like, let's go to Kickstarter and see what's going on. I wanted to check on, when I went to CES, we went to CES, XYZ had a daylight, I'm going to sneeze.
Bless you.
I think another one's coming. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm going to fix that.
Remove it in post.
Yeah. They had a daylight. If you guys remember the ONO, it's a daylight resin 3D printer. You use a mobile phone or a small tablet. I think that's another option that's coming later. But there's a XYZ one that said, it's going to be on Kickstarter. I was like, that was supposed to be February. I looked, I could not find any mention of it.
A Kickstarter thing being delayed.
It's weird that XYZ would do a Kickstarter. But I mean, Robo3D did a Kickstarter just because. They're just like, we just want to give back to the people that gave to us. So,
okay.
Well, they said that, and I believe them, because I don't think they needed the Kickstarter to make that happen, but maybe to gauge interest a little bit. Yeah. Whatever. But the OLO is the one that they were kind of ripping off. And then I couldn't find anything about XYZ, so I'm like, look at OLO. I saw something called the ONO, and then I was, what's going on here? And then I did a little research. I went to Olo's. Olo has updates. People are mad at them. It's just like
shocking. Again, it's like every Kickstarter ever, with the exception of the 2% that aren't bad.
People are pissed. Where's there's saying people that already backed out and got their money back can still comment. Somebody mentioned that. Just people are pissed. But if you want to go look that up, just look up OLO on Kickstarter. Then it turns out I look at a video. I can show you here.
Okay.
Just very, typical looking factory setting in China. I look at the shirts, and there's an ONO on it. I found out they changed the name. and I don't know why, because it's awful. There must have been some sort of a...
That's a trademark issue or
must have been, because ONO is what they were caught on. That was the cool name. ONO sounds like, oh no, it's not going to ship,
Yeah, it's a very negative sounding name.
Yeah, so it turns out it's the same company. They did change it a little bit. It's a little bigger, and the logo is just, it looks like a sideways S that's flipped around. It's not my favorite.
Well, and this kind of brings up something with the 3D printing industry in general. It's so difficult to stay on top of absolutely everything that's going on, unless it's your job.
They changed the name in like August. I had no idea.
I mean, there's so many Kickstarter printers that are out there. There's still that many that are new Kickstarters.
Speaking of, the other one I wanted to talk about, it's called the Snapmaker. It just reminds me, we had someone that came in the other day, and they have a Trinus or Trinus, I forget how it's pronounced, but it's a small, very metal, sturdy looking printer.
Very overbuilt.
Yeah, it's a lot, very overbuilt for something that's building a 5x5x5 approximately, structure. But this one looks really similar, where it's all just like, oh, it's modular and it snaps together nice. And I just, at this point, it's just like, I don't care. This one was $50,000 goal, and it got $2.2 million. So I mean, people still want these things. I think at this point you could find something for around the price range that you're getting here. I think it's $200 or $300. It's about something like that. Yeah, it looks nice, but I don't see what it's really adding to the industry.
It's just another. It's just more noise.
It's easy to put together. That's their big thing.
That's what.
You put it together.
Any printer can be easy to put together.
You put it
especially
together
if it's
once.
pre-assembled.
Yeah.
I
don't know. I see how it could be nice, and it looks really cool. I don't know if you can see that there.
Yeah, no, I mean it's a nice looking piece of kit. I'll give it that.
Yeah, it's an established solid design. The one thing I would worry about is replacement parts for the extruder, because it looks like it's kind of contained a little bit. But I think it closed. It closed this morning, because I looked at this at 3 a.m. and it closed at 9 a.m. Central Time.
Yeah, just shy of 5,000 backers. So can you scroll down and see how many of those are people that actually back printers? Because there's usually those really low
272
goals.
Did the $299 pledge for a printer.
Okay.
281 did the $1 thank you. 369. This was including a laser module.
Scroll up. It's going to be easier to just subtract the people that didn't.
Oh, sure. So
281. Scroll up a little bit more.
That's the lowest one.
Okay, so I mean, really, they've got about 4,600 to 4,700, about 4,600 printers.
It's a lot of printers. Yeah. A lot of people just getting the extra. You'd pledge a different size or a different pledge marks for the different modules, because it's a modular thing.
It's basically a CNC platform.
Yeah, CNC laser. You can do both. There's a beta adopter. I guess that was, I don't know what that is. Beta panel. Super early bird. That was $199. So.
But I mean, some of this stuff, it gets to the point of, like you said, what are they really adding?
Yeah,
what are they improving upon that much that another 3D printer company isn't going to be able to immediately do?
Yeah.
Because even when you look at the different modules, you've already got someone out there that's doing that.
Yeah, ZMorph is doing a fantastic job.
The ZMorph is doing a kick-ass job.
Theirs is about $1,500 or $2,500 more.
Yeah, so I mean, cost can be one thing. Okay, like maybe you're doing something really innovative in the supply chain side of things, because that is an improvement. If you start streamlining things, reducing the number of parts that are going into the printer, or even cutting back on the number of suppliers you have to go to, or diversifying the number of suppliers you have to go to for so that way you've got a backup supplier. I mean, that to me is where a lot of the advancement is happening. It's not so much in how good the 3D printer is. It's how effectively can the parts be sourced, how reliably can they be sourced, what can you do to combine components, and I mean that's the big thing.
People just want good surface finish, cheap, and I keep making stuff. I'm never gonna.
Yeah, but I mean, with FDM, you've hit speed limitations. You simply can't. It's not even that you can't push plastic faster. You can always push plastic faster, but you're still going to need
extruder.
You're going to need to wait for the previous layer to cool. So there's a minimum amount of time per layer that you have. That making a printer physically more able to get from point A to point B, you're not going to be able to do that. You're going to have to artificially slow it down so that the previous layer has enough time to cool. With FDM, that's it. So you're looking at where the innovations are in FDM now. Automatic bed leveling is the big thing. The Prusa i3, for example, is doing that. There's a lot of other printers out there that are doing that. Type A Machines is releasing an upgrade kit to work with their BuildTac build surface. so that it can be doing automatic bed leveling. So almost every printer that's out now, or is going to be released, if it doesn't do that, it's already behind. So MakerBot, for example, is behind. It's not doing that type of automatic bed leveling.
Yeah, it does a Z offset, but that's it. Really.
Or even looking at the way that that Lulzbot is doing their automatic bed leveling, they do it 4 points, in the corners of the bed, where something like the Prusa i3, it's a 9-point, 9-point level.
Yeah, there's some that do 12, 15. I mean, you could probably make it do more, but it has nodes or points that it's checking.
So that's one of the innovations that now everyone's doing. The next one is multi-material. So like
Prusa's doing a 4-color. There's the Mosaic for Type A. Well,
the Mosaic is really.
It's not for Type A. It's kind of.
But they're making profiles specifically for the Type A.
Yeah, I've just been seeing them. They working tightly with Type A, so that's why I'm seeing them that way.
The great thing about Mosaic is, and granted, this is me looking at their marketing materials. It's not actually having a unit in house, but it can turn any 3D printer into a multi-material, or at least a multi-color 3D printer. Maybe always multi-material. Some materials don't work well together. You're not going to be able to print hips and PLA, or maybe you can. I don't know why you'd ever want to, but there's some materials that just have such different temperature profiles that it's not going to.
Or they just don't like to stick. They don't like to stick to each other for whatever reason. NinjaFlex and PLA are not always the best suited for each other.
Not always. They can work.
Yeah, I've just heard that there's issues with it, but I've never actually done it. But yeah, the Snapmaker, you can check that out. It's already funded, so if you want to get something like that, you'll have to wait. Another one that I saw that I was a little not disappointed, but a little sad to see, the Ability 1. We wanted to talk to them at CES. So that's the
metal.
It's like a TIG or MIG welder. I forget the difference, but it's a welder. What I didn't realize is that it also does, it's additive and then subtractive. So it goes back afterwards and does a pass with a CNC router to clean up.
We saw the parts. They're very interesting looking parts, but so the details on their Kickstarter as of this...
it's got 3 days to go, which is, they're not going to make it, I don't think.
What was their goal? Like
640,000.
Yeah.
And they're an eighth of the way. It's 86,000 they're at, so... I don't think it's quite there yet for like the home.
Well, no, not for the home hobbyist. It's in that weird spot where it's too expensive for a hobbyist to really pick it up, but it's not robust enough. In my opinion, granted, I haven't used it, but it's not robust enough for professional shop use. Now you compare that to something like the Mark Forged Metal X, and that they're aiming. That's $100,000 3D printer that prints in metal, and they're aiming specifically for the industrial market. I don't want to say Mark Forged is ignoring the hobbyist and consumer market, but
they have their other printers that are
But it's intentional. They're doing it very intentionally to be more in the professional production level of 3D printing, and so that allows them to be able to do more development too. So they're expensive printers, but there's so much R&D that goes into those machines. That's like true R&D. It's not all right, we're going to design a new hot end. We're going to design something with a different heat break or something like that. They're doing really innovative stuff.
Yeah, so this, it's sad to see because I'm not going to try to take a jump on Snapmaker, but they're kind of doing something they're just kind of refining a process that's done already. This is really... It's
iterative instead of revolutionary.
Yeah, this is I've seen this idea talked about, but they're the first ones that are really that I'm seeing as from a hobby kind of perspective that are doing this, and it doesn't look like they're going to make it unless something really good happens in the next couple days.
Well, and I think this one is an example of not having enough marketing polish to it.
That's what I'm going to say too, because I'm looking at it. It looks like they shot it themselves. I'm not going to, we do our video stuff in-house, but I studied the stuff. It seems like they had maybe some help on it, but they need it a little more polished. And the parts they're just not that pretty looking. So while you could still make something really useful, it's not going to look like people want it to look. Like with FDM, you're going to get something that kind of looks like what you're looking for. Right. It's kind of okay. It's got like some layer lines, but it's okay. You still see what it's looking for. Like this wrench is pretty rough.
Well, the other thing too,
and there's a spinner too.
Thing too is this one is really, I would consider it still in the development stage, where a lot of Kickstarters that are successful, they're past the development stage. They're basically ready to ship. And this printer just isn't ready to ship yet. But I think printers like this are what Kickstarter was designed for and intended for, were for those projects that weren't ready to go to market. They needed the funding to do more development before it would be ready to go. But people treat Kickstarter now as a place where you pre-order a product instead of a place where you contribute to something to further it and make it happen. So, which is too bad. I mean, I understand why people's opinions would transition, but
yeah. So I just wanted to kind of see the compare and contrast. Which is, I think we just lost John camera.
Gonna try and get her going.
There we go. Okay, I can reach. But yeah, it's a little sad to see, just because the guy worked for NASA, so I know he's solid and he's got a big background in, I think, engineering. I actually didn't read this as thoroughly as I should have. I was kind of just skimming things and trying to just gauge my own interest, and I didn't end up following up that much. But we looked into the ability a tiny bit, just because I think they were at the Milwaukee.
Yeah, they're at the Milwaukee Maker Faire. I think they were local-ish to that area.
I forget where they're from, but Midwest area somewhere. We were going to go see them at CES, but they were hidden away somewhere, like in Hobbyland or development area. I don't remember, but we didn't end up finding them. We just didn't have time. Last year we had a couple more days to work with. This year we just kind of in a rush. So,
right.
But yeah, and I think that's really all I had today. Except I was trying to find the XYZ thing, so I just was looking through articles, and then someone called the DaVinci Junior an easy bake oven of 3D printers. So
it looks like an easy bake oven.
I thought that was funny, especially the new one. It looks like Duplo blocks, the giant Legos.
Yeah,
it looks like the rabbit shape, like every rabbit shaped one. Put together.
XYZ, those the printers are actually getting pretty good. I mean, when they first came out, there was a lot of build quality issues. For example, there were some injection molded parts that weren't robust enough to take the stresses that they were going to be under. But now, I mean, I think they still use chipped filament, but it's about as fire and forget as you can get with for a desktop 3D printer that's sub $300.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen what comes off of them. They're not perfect, but I think they do have removable build plates, if I'm remembering right. And then I don't remember, but yeah, you can get it at Staples or Best Buy and
Barnes and Noble. I think still sells
real?
it. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. It's.
I knew they were selling something.
Yeah, because Barnes and Noble has that much maker stuff. Because I know Barnes & Noble is tied in pretty tight with like Maker Faire, for example.
I think we even had one in Fargo here, like just a couple booths. I don't know if we actually participated that time.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
that was a couple of years ago. But I think that's all I got. I mean, as far as future podcast ideas, I still want to do something with flexible materials because we have some new ones to work with.
Yeah, I still need to get that flexible material run through the Form 2.
Yeah, the only one we haven't done yet on the Form 2, because we have all the just normal colors and then tough. We're looking to get a heat-resistant one for some of our R&D projects, so I don't want to blow it out of the water, but just keep your eyes open for that, all you hot printer users, the hot end and hot beds. So,
all you hot printer users.
Yeah, I screwed that up. The heated build plates and all metal hot ends and whatnot. Yeah. And then I had a wristband from forever ago that I did in Ninja Flex, so I just want to do a compare and contrast.
Yeah,
I wore it for about 2 years and then it ended up breaking apart, but we'll do something with that. And otherwise, if you guys ever have ideas or want to reach out to us, we do Skype interviews if it makes sense. So we do have one in the pipeline, but I won't say who it is. And then Jake and I are going to go to Minneapolis in a couple weeks here. So if you're in the Minneapolis area and want to meet up, reach out to us and we can kind of tell you where we're going to be at. But we're going to talk with Brian Glary. He does props and just a lot of other stuff. I don't know.
He does a lot of architecture
and props from popular video games or movies or whatever. And then we're going to talk to a shop that does 3D scanning and printing of miniatures. So we're getting all those things locked in. If you're in the area, like I said, we can maybe go get Pizza Luce or Jake wants to do Fuddruckers or something. So that's all I got.
All right. Well, then if there's nothing else, on behalf of myself, John Schneider, and Eric Faldy, we want to thank you for watching this episode of the Fargo 3D Printing Show. If you like what you're hearing, that's great. Make sure to subscribe so that you can continue to like what you're hearing. If you don't like what you're hearing, hey, we're open for constructive criticism. We're always looking for different ideas on ways we can improve.
Yeah,
so let us know that too.
I still want to get a 3-camera setup. We have 2 here, but we have an issue with the 3rd camera that we have access to. It just whatever. It stops working after 12 minutes, so that's all we get to work with. We could definitely do a bit more prep and have shorter podcasts, but this is just how it goes.
Yeah. But again, on behalf of both of us, thanks again for watching, and we'll catch you next time.
I think we lost audio at some point, too. I might have to go off.
Oh,
damn it. Alright. I guess I'll find out when it wasn't much at the end. We'll maybe have to cut to camera audio.